You know these metal bars on the bottom of a skateboard? They can't be that important, can they? Well, I've got some news for you. These metal bars go on the bottom of your skateboard and they're called trucks, and they're pretty important to your skateboard setup. Before we even start diving into the wonderful world of trucks, I want you to know that this is part 2 of a series where I'm talking about board building. The first video was about skateboard decks. Go check that one out before or after you watch this video. It doesn't really matter, the order's not that important. But you better watch them all. Please. In my opinion, buying skateboard trucks is probably the most stressful part of building your own setup. So now you're probably wondering, well, why are they so important? The trucks do 2 main things. First, they hold your wheels to your board so you know you can move. And the other thing they do is they allow you to turn. So when you're standing on your skateboard and you lean inward or outward, your board is gonna turn. What is allowing you to turn is your trucks. Trucks can be really important because if you have the wrong size, they're gonna completely throw off your balance and make easy tricks 10 times harder to land. But don't worry, today we're going to be walking through everything you need to know about trucks so that when you go and buy some, you know exactly what you're looking for. So, let's get trucking. You know, I wrote that joke, but I don't think it's that funny. Before we even dive into what kind of skateboard trucks you should get, I want to go through some things that you should be keeping in mind before you even start browsing. First, skateboard trucks can last you a very long time. If you treat them with care, they should last you several board setups. A lot of skaters really hate parting with their trucks because you get so used to how they ride that when you get new ones, you have to readjust. With that in mind, if you're going to be spending extra money on any of your skate parts, I would recommend it being the trucks. If you spend extra money on your deck, it's gonna get razor tail or snap no matter what. If you spend a lot of money on your wheels, they're gonna wear out over time, but trucks will probably last you the longest of those 3 items. When it comes to skateboard parts, you get what you pay for, so if you cheap out on trucks, you're probably gonna have a pretty bad time and you're gonna have to replace them often. So we'll get to price ranges in a little bit, but don't freak out. You can still get some quality trucks without breaking the bank. The other thing you want to keep in mind is your board size. Make sure you are 100% sure you know what your board size is. Here's a personal example. At the beginning of last summer, my skateboard truck snapped in half, and that's whatever. I've been using them for a while, but I went to my favorite online skate shop, saw that they had some trucks on sale. I bought them without really double checking the size. When they finally got to me, they were a bit too small. So that wasn't very smart of me. Because then I still decided to use them because it was either do that or not be able to skate until I could order some more, and I really wanted to skate. So I put them on my board, I went out, and I could not land anything. My balance was so thrown off that even trying to do simple tricks was impossible. So the second I got home, you know, I went back online and I was like, I need to get some new trucks because I messed up the last time, and I ordered a second pair after double checking that they were going to be the correct size. So what's the moral of the story? Measure your skateboard deck size twice so you only have to buy trucks once. So now let's talk about the parts of a truck before we jump into anything else, because when you start looking for trucks online, you're going to notice a lot of key phrases come up, and I want you to be prepared. But I'm gonna make this pretty quick because in my skateboard parts video, I kind of already went into this detail, so I'm just kind of repeating myself here. But let's just blast through it real quick. First up, we have the base plate. This is what connects your truck to the actual deck. On top of the base plate, we have the hanger. This is the main section of your truck. And what connects the hanger to the base plate, that's what we call the kingpin. These skinnier bars that stick out of the hanger are called axles. This is where your wheels and bearings are gonna go. Next we have the king nut. This goes on the king pin. This is what you tighten or loosen to control your turning. I like the word king nut, by the way. I wish I could be the king nut. Next we have the bushings. This is actually what controls the turning behavior. And finally we have the axle nuts. These go on the axles which hold your wheels to your trucks. I guess we have the washers too. I don't know, that's like technically part of the wheel, but it's also kind of the truck. Whatever, I'm throwing it in here anyways. Knowledge is power. So that's basically all the pieces of a truck, and I know that was a lot and it may have been a little overwhelming, but don't worry, you don't need to know all of that, but just so you kind of understand how many pieces go into this one little metal bar. Okay, now with all of that out of the way, we're gonna spend some time to figure out which trucks are gonna be best for you. Truck width is very important because if you have too small of trucks, it's going to completely throw off your balance. And if you have too large of trucks, your wheels are going to stick out weird. Typically, it can be pretty easy to find your correct truck width for your deck size, but like I said, please double check before you buy anything. On most skate shops, they'll list two different types of truck widths. They'll list the axle width as well as the hanger width. When we were talking about truck anatomy a few minutes ago, we talked about the hanger as well as the axle. So which width should you care about? Well, when you're looking to buy skateboard trucks, you're going to want to look at the axle width because the axle width is going to be the full length of the skateboard truck. Ideally, in a perfect world, your truck width should line exactly up with the edge of your skateboard. If you put your hand flat on top of it, it should be nice and smooth. I mean, I guess it doesn't have to be your hand. You could try it with anything. You could use a book, a tool, your Nintendo Switch. Maybe don't use the Nintendo Switch actually. While looking at axle widths, you may come across the issue where you can't find an exact axle width that matches your skateboard deck size. And I just want you to know, don't freak out. That's completely okay. You can easily go a fraction of a size larger or smaller for skateboard trucks, and trust me, you'll be fine. Let me give you a quick example. In a perfect world, if you had an 8-inch skateboard deck, you would want 8-inch trucks, 8-inch being the axle width, to match up with the skateboard. However, let's say you can't find 8-inch axle width trucks for your 8-inch board. You could easily get trucks with the axle width of like 8.125 or down to like 7.875, and you would be completely fine. So when it comes down to it, you can basically go 1.25 up or 1.25 down in size, and you're gonna be cool, man. You don't have to worry about anything. And if you're like me and you don't like math and I just said a whole bunch of numbers, you're probably very overwhelmed, but don't get freaked out. There's so many different truck charts out there that you can just do a quick Google search and you'll find one that will help guide you. I actually linked one down in the description below in case you want to see one that I would recommend using. Wink! So let me show you how that truck sizing chart would work. You can look at this column for your deck size and then look over at this other column to see the axle size you're gonna need. It's literally that simple. So that's how you would find your correct truck width. Just gotta really stick to that chart, double check your deck size, double check your truck size. But there is one other thing that might cause some issues. Like I said, this is the most stressful part, I think. Unfortunately, truck sizes are not standardized, meaning one company can label their truck sizes different than another company's. Luckily, most skate shops realize that this is confusing as heck, so when you're looking at trucks, usually in the descriptions or the specs, they'll tell you, hey, this size is gonna fit with this board, or this is what the standard inches is in. Just make sure you're looking at that before you buy any. So now you're like, okay, Zach, so why'd you even bring that up? Well, the point is that just because one company says that it's this size doesn't mean another truck company's size is gonna be the same. It's just another warning to really double check what you're buying. Again, say it with me now. Double check your board size so you only have to buy trucks once. Just do it. That's like the moral of this whole video. Okay, so the last thing you're gonna wanna consider when you're buying trucks is the truck height. Trucks come in 3 different heights, low, mid, and high. So why would you want low, mid, or high trucks? Low trucks offer a better stability because they're closer to the deck. These are fantastic for beginners, but just keep in mind that if you do a lot of tricks with them, you could get wheel bite often. Mid-sized trucks are also a fantastic choice for beginners, especially if this is like your second or third skateboard when you're starting to do more tricks. Mid-side trucks are designed to work very well with street skating as well as park skating, so these are just very good overall trucks to get. Finally, we have high trucks, so these trucks are going to be the farthest away from your deck. These skateboard trucks are typically the standard of skateboard trucks, but since they are the farthest away from your skateboard, they do require a bit more balance as they are the most unstable of the 3. These trucks are great for skaters who have been riding for a while, and since they are so far away from your deck, they do allow you to have bigger wheels on your trucks without getting any wheel bite. In my opinion, if you're a beginner skateboarder, I would stick with low trucks or mid-sized trucks, and if you've been skating for a little bit longer, maybe this is your second or third setup, I would go with maybe high trucks, try them out. The big takeaway from truck height is that the farther your trucks are away from your deck, the more balance they require. The last thing I'll say about skateboard truck height is make sure that the trucks you are buying are not longboard trucks. Sometimes you'll see trucks listed as high trucks, but when you look closer at them, they're actually for longboards. And you definitely don't want to have longboard trucks on your skateboard because that's not what they were made for. You ain't gonna have a good time, homie. So just make sure that if they're labeled for high trucks, they're for skateboards and not longboards. Okay, so we've talked about the anatomy, we've talked about truck width, we've talked about truck height. The last thing we want to talk about is which brands of trucks to get. I've mentioned this before in several videos and I'll probably mention it again in several future videos, but just buy from a trustworthy skate shop. When you're buying from a skate shop that only sells skateboard equipment, you cannot go wrong with most of your selections you pick there. I say most because there are some like bargain brands, mini logo, that aren't as good as some other trucks, but just buy from a trustworthy skate shop, please, as I'm begging you. Always buy local if you can, but if you can't, some great online skate shops that I trust are Tactics, CCS, Daddy Skate Shop, Zoomies, Skate Warehouse, and if you're outside of America, Skate Deluxe. I haven't used Skate Deluxe before, but from what I've seen on their website, they seem like a good skate company. I haven't bought anything from there because I live in America. It'd be wild for me to ship things from other parts of the world when I have stuff. This is just rambling now. I personally use Trucks by Tensor for a very long time. I personally really like them. I know that they're not a lot of skaters' cup of tea, but you do you, you know? If you don't want to use tensors or you used tensors in the past and don't want to use them again, I'd recommend either Independent, Venture, taking a quick peek at my notes, and Crux. I'm not saying that those are the only good skateboard truck brands. I'm just saying those are ones that I've heard amazing things about, and you can't go wrong with picking from any of those. Trucks can typically range from about $30 all the way up to like $100+. So again, just buy from a trustworthy skate shop website and you're gonna be good as gold. One last thing I want to say about trucks, and I didn't know where else to put this in the video, so it's just going right here. Make sure you order 2 trucks. Some websites, I'm talking to you Zoomies, like to just sell 1 truck and you gotta make sure you select your quantity to 2. I don't know why they do that. Just when you're buying trucks, just make sure that it either says that it's a pair of trucks or a set of trucks or a set of 2, and it's not just like 1 and then you gotta change your quantity to 2. Most skate shops don't do that. There's only a few that I've seen do that, but every single time it's just like, what are you guys thinking? The final advice I can give to you about buying skateboard trucks is don't freak out. If this is your first skateboard setup, it's gonna be okay if the first set of trucks aren't gonna be the ones you skate forever. Trucks are a huge part of your skateboard setup, but if this is your first skateboard setup, it's not gonna make a huge difference. You're just learning the basics on this skateboard. You're not gonna know the difference between $50 trucks and $200 trucks. Just don't cheap out on trucks either though. I mean, don't buy like $15 trucks and be like, well, I'm a beginner, these are my first trucks, I'll be fine. No, you're gonna have a bad time. Don't do that. I'm not saying ball out on trucks, but I'm also saying don't cheap out on trucks. Find a nice medium. Again, I've said this like 10 times in this video, but just double check everything. Double check your deck size, double check your truck size. Do that all before you buy them and you get them and then they're completely wrong. These turned off again. I'm serious, if you get the wrong size trucks, it's not gonna be a good time, so just please double check. I mentioned this in my skateboard deck video, but I'm gonna bring it up again. If you have a friend that skateboards, ask them what kind of trucks they have. Ask them if they like them or don't like them. Ask them even if you can ride their skateboard around to see if those are the kind of trucks that you would like. And that's skateboard trucks in a nutshell. Like I said at the beginning of the video, there's so much stuff around skateboard trucks, it can really like kind of just make you feel overwhelmed, but don't feel overwhelmed, I promise. It's gonna be all good. If you have additional questions, leave them down in the comments. I would love to answer them for you. I hope this video cleared up some questions you had about skateboard trucks. If you wouldn't mind, please hit that like button down below and consider subscribing if you haven't already. Oh, and one more thing before we end this video, I got some brand new skateboards available in my new online skate shop. If you wanna go check those out, they're pretty dang cool. And as always, have fun, good luck, and keep shredding the gnar.